Hello, 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 and welcome to my free grant strategy session. If this is your first time joining me, welcome and thank you so much for joining me. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back to this space. My name is Crystal Petrie, and I have been writing grants and researching grants for over 15 years. And it is definitely something that I'm passionate about, something that I absolutely love, and something that I want to impart to you so that you can be successful in this grant writing world. Today's topic: the three things funders look for before they say yes. Let me say that one more time. Today's topic: three things that funders look for before they say yes. Getting funded starts well before the application is written. I am going to explain that in great detail during this session. I would like, as you are coming in, as you are watching, to let me know, where are you watching from? What city, what state, what country are you watching me from? And as you are watching, as you are listening, as you are learning, please like this video. Please share this live so that other people, your friends, your family, your coworkers, can also listen and learn. Today, we are talking about something that every nonprofit and business applying for grants needs to understand. Many people think that grant funding is all about writing a great proposal, but that is not the case. Long before a funder ever reads your application, ever looks at your budget, they are already looking for three things to determine whether your organization is ready for funding, to determine if your organization is ready to invest in. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what those three things are. So let's set some expectations for this free grant strategy session. By the end of this session, you will understand why some organizations consistently receive funding. You know those organizations that I'm talking about, the ones that are always on social media, they're always in the newspaper, they're always on TV holding the big check. You know, the big check that I'm talking about. Those organizations, every year, like clockwork, you see them with the big check receiving funding. Why are they consistently receiving funding? I am going to explain that to you. Another thing you will understand by the end of this free grant strategy session: why other organizations continue to get denied. And maybe I'm talking about you. Maybe I'm talking about your organization. Maybe I'm talking about your nonprofit. Why do you continue to get denied when it comes to grant funding? And lastly, what you will understand by the end of this session: what you can do right now to start improving your grant strategy today. And notice what I said. I did not say grant funding, I said grant strategy. That's very important. The first thing that funders are looking for before they say yes: program clarity. What's your main message? This is so important. I cannot convey how important this is. Funders invest in programs. Funders do not invest in ideas. Funders do not invest in passion. Funders do not invest in dreams. Funders do not invest in excitement. Funders invest in programs. Funders want something quantifiable, something they can count, something they can see, something they can feel. You cannot count passion. You cannot count excitement. Ideas are not quantifiable. Funders want to be able to say, yes, he hit the mark. Yes, he went over the mark. Yes, he went just under the mark. Funders want whatever they are investing in with their money to be quantifiable. For example, what problem does your program solve? Now, no funder and no reasonable person, and hopefully you yourself, is not asking for you to solve all of the ills and the evils of the world. No one is asking for you to carry that burden. But is your program solving something in your corner of the world? Is your program solving a problem in your neighborhood? Is your program solving a problem in your school district? What problem is your program solving? And who benefits from this being solved? Are you solving teenage pregnancy? Are you solving homelessness? Are you solving menopause? What problem are you solving? And who benefits? Do teenage boys benefit from sex education? Is that what you're solving? Women over 35, 45, are they benefiting from your education on menopause or perimenopause? Are homeless veterans benefiting from your program? Who benefits from your program? And what services are offered? Are you offering educational services? Are you offering social capabilities? Are you offering food? Are you offering paying utility bills? What services are you offering? And what results will participants experience? You have to be able to answer all of these questions within your program long before you ever start to write for a grant. Long before that. If you are not able to answer all of the questions that I just went through as you are watching this free grant strategy session, that is definitely something you need to start working on. Vague language creates doubt. You do not want your funder to have doubt about your program and your organization. Because if they have doubt about your program, if they have doubt about your organization, the likelihood of them funding your organization, of them funding your program, drastically decreases. Here is an example of vague language that you must stay away from. We help youth. You hear how vague that is? I have so many questions, and I'm not the funder. I have so many questions. And as you are listening, you should probably have questions too. Let me give you an example of a sentence that answers all the questions and leaves very, very minimal doubt. Instead of saying, "We help youth," try this instead. "We provide after school STEM tutoring to 120 middle school students, improving math proficiency and graduation readiness." Do you hear the difference? What are they doing? Providing STEM tutoring. When are they doing it? After school. Who benefits? Middle school students. How many? 120. What are the expected results? Higher math proficiency and graduation readiness. Do you hear how that sentence answers all the questions and leaves very, very little to no doubt in the funder's mind, in my mind, and I'm sure in your mind? Number 2, what funders are looking for before they say yes. This is where many organizations struggle, and that is data. Data, data, data. Funders love evidence. And as I stated earlier in our session, funders want something that's quantifiable, something that they can pinpoint, they can put their finger on, they can understand. Something they can pinpoint is data. Something they can understand is data. Data is very important, but many organizations struggle with data. And the reason many organizations struggle with this is because they are out doing the work. They are out feeding the hungry. They are out clothing those who need jackets during the wintertime. They are out teaching the classes. And as they are out serving, as they are out doing the work, most of them forget to track the work. So, data that you need to be collecting, please write this down or save this video and come back and re-watch it, re-listen to it again. It's something that I always do when I'm listening to podcasts or videos. I save it and I come back and watch it, because a lot of times, the first time that you listen to it compared to the second time that you listen to it, you hear stuff that you missed the first time. The third time you listen to it, you hear stuff and you learn stuff that you missed the first and the second time. So save this video, come back and re-listen to it. Take notes. Whatever your form is, use that. The data that you need to be collecting: numbers served. How many people are you serving? Demographics. Who are you serving? Are you serving teenage boys? Are you serving 45-year-old women? Are you serving toddlers? Who are you serving? What are the outcome? Now, these are all numbers. This is all data that you need to be tracking long before you ever write a grant. Success stories. I know for me, it has happened countless times. I am out at a community event. I am hosting something. I am doing grant coaching. I am at a networking event, and people walk up to you and say, "Your organization helped me so much. Your organization helped my mother. Your organization helped my wife." Those are success stories. Funders want to see that people are happy with your program. People are happy with your organization. Those success stories are just like reviews, just like Amazon reviews, just like Google reviews. Positive reviews. Let me say that. Community need. What does your community need? Waiting list. Waiting lists are so underrated, but they are so very important because they tell funders and they tell investors that people are eager to participate in your program, that people are eager to become a part of your organization. Waiting list, so slept on. Make sure you create a waiting list. Data tells funders that you are doing the work. Data shows funders that you are doing the work. This is why it is so important that data is kept, that data is tracked. People tell stories, organizations prove them. I have a question for you. What data are you currently tracking? Are you tracking data? If you are not tracking data right now, as you are listening and learning from me, start immediately tracking data. Create you a simple Excel spreadsheet and put that information, numbers served, demographics, outcomes, success stories, waiting list, and start tracking that data. Number 3, what funders look for before they say yes. Alignment. This is so very important. Many organizations that I have worked with, that I have heard about, that I have coached, the first thing they do is search for grants. That's what they do. They search for grants. But let me tell you something. Successful organizations build a grant funding strategy first. They do not search for grants. They build a grant funding strategy first. Most organizations have this, I found $100,000 grant mindset. I found a $50,000 grant mindset. When the shift needs to be, does this funder care about what we do? Alignment. Does this funder want to support what we do? Does this funder want to financially invest in what we do? Does this funder want to become our partner? Because that's essentially what is happening. When you receive grant funding, you are becoming partners with that funder. Your organization, your business is now in partnership with that funder. Funding follows alignment, not opportunity. Let me explain and tell you a story. It's story time. It's story time. I was working with a nonprofit, and the nonprofit was serving at-risk teenage boys. All of these boys had been in or through the juvenile justice system at some point in time. And that is who this nonprofit was serving, at-risk teenage boys. They were teaching a curriculum, an evidence based curriculum, to teach these teenage at risk boys how to make good decisions and how to control themselves emotionally. Now, most people would think, why is that needed? Why do they need a curriculum for that? And that is because maybe you grew up in a household that taught you how to make good decisions, because that's a learned behavior. Perhaps you grew up in a family that taught you how to control your emotions, because that is also a learned behavior. But if you have never been taught how to make good decisions, if you have never been taught how to control your emotions, society and communities will exploit that. These teenage at risk boys were receiving this evidence based curriculum. The nonprofit was doing an amazing job of teaching and cultivating relationships. They were not doing a great job of data, of outcomes. They kept applying for grants over and over. They would not win the grants. They would become frustrated and they thought we need to write better. And so the cycle continued. They would apply for grants, not win the grants, get frustrated, and blame the writing. And the cycle would continue until I entered the picture. The problem was not the writing, and normally it's not the writing. The problem was they had unclear outcomes, weak to no data, and poor grant fit. What I was able to do for this nonprofit was clarify their program, improve their measurements, help them start tracking their data. I showed them that chasing grants was not the answer. I showed them the power of alignment, being aligned with funders and investors. Eventually, what happened? This process, let me pause here for a moment and say, this is not an overnight process. This is not a 1 day process. It is why I stated at the beginning of our free grant strategy session today that grant funding and grant application starts long before you apply for grants, because it's not an overnight situation. Once I was able to help them with their mind shift and look at their outcomes, funder alignment, and that the writing was not the biggest issue, their grant funding strategy was the issue. Eventually, they started receiving grants and was able to continue to support these amazing teenage boys, support them in so many different ways that increased the outcome. And isn't that what we all want? To increase the outcome, to make sure that the people that we are supporting is actually being supported and is actually being helped. I want you, as you are listening to me, as you are learning from me, I want you to understand that most organizations are guessing their way through grant funding. Maybe you, maybe your organization is guessing its way through grant funding. And I will tell you that is not the way to be successful in grant funding, to receive grant funding year after year. That is not the way. You are guessing which grants to apply for. You are guessing how to describe your program. You are guessing what funders want. You are guessing what makes your organization, your program competitive. All of it is guessing. Successful organizations are not guessing. Successful organizations are following a funding strategy. That's a huge difference. Let me ask another question of you. Can you describe your program in 2 sentences? What is your elevator pitch for your program? An elevator pitch is you being able to describe your program, meaning you can answer the who, what, when, where, and why in the time it takes you to get on an elevator and get off an elevator at the next stop, the next floor. What is your elevator pitch? Can you describe your program in 2 sentences? If you cannot describe your program in 2 sentences, if you do not have an elevator pitch and have it memorized, you need to start working on that right now. I hope today's session helped you to see your organization differently. I hope today's session helped you to see any gaps within your organization. I hope today's session helped you to see the areas of growth for your organization. If you are wondering whether your organization has any gaps, if you are wondering if your organization has any areas that can grow, if you are wondering if your organization has areas that you are doing well in, but you want to build on that, I invite you to schedule a complimentary 30-minute grant strategy call. My website is right here at the bottom. See, it's right there, everyone. Go to that website, book a free complimentary 30-minute grant strategy call. On that call, we will discuss where's your organization today? Where do you want your organization to go? And what are your best next steps? What those steps should be. For some organizations, that may be one-on-one coaching. For some organizations, that may be grant research. For other organizations, that may be my grant writing workshop that's happening August the 20th. In about a month and 6 days. My goal is to help you determine the right path for your organization through this complimentary grant strategy call. Again, go to my website. It is right there, www.capetryllc.com. Again, my website, www.capetryllc.com. Again, my goal is to help you determine the right path for your organization. If today's session was helpful for you, if you learned something, if you had an aha moment from today's session. I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this live with someone, a family member, a friend, a coworker, a nonprofit leader, a business owner who is looking for grant funding. And remember, successful organizations don't just write grants, they build funding strategies.